Hello, welcome to Art Online. My guest today is Michael Wallner, who is an artist who we've known and been friends with for a good while now. How's it going, Michael?
Yeah, good. Thanks very much. I'm back in my studio today for the first time in a long time, so it's a bit like coming back to school after the school holidays.
Yeah, I heard that. I saw that. So Wimbledon Art Studios that you're currently in. I suppose you've had to pretty much leave it entirely the studio. What's that been? How's that? How have you coped with that?
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, because I do my work digitally, I could theoretically work from anywhere, but I have a really nice studio and it's quite big, whereas my flat's really small. It's nice to work in the studio surrounded by the art, and you tend to miss the community of artists. Like, I've seen a few today who've been in, and it's quite nice having not seen anybody for 2 months.
Thing is, I mean, that's the thing that you think people forget about. Somewhere like Wimbledon Art Studios, I remember going in there for a couple of their open days, and you can just explore, and there's lots of little alleys, and there's lots of studios, and there's artists on top of each other. And I suppose having that creative community must help you with your own practice. But if you take that away, actually, do you lose a bit of energy, do you think?
I mean, I'm quite a good self-motivator. I've always done that. Been good at that and like doing that. But I mean, when I think about the type of art I did when I first moved in here in 2012, it's completely different to what I do now. And I'm sure that's because, conversations I've had with artists, and they say, why don't you do this? How about that? And that's the stuff I miss, is the sort of somebody saying, oh, I've got somebody who can cut acrylic, and I've got somebody who's got an amazing piece of wood you should print on, that kind of recommendation and passing on of things. That's what I miss, I think.
Yeah, it is the community bit, isn't it? That sort of, I suppose, helps you out, and you can just go. It's like it's like in the office, isn't it? When you might not work with somebody day to day, but you might meet them at the water cooler.
Yes.
The water cooler. Let's go American. And if there's the tap in the kitchen, and where you're making a cup of tea, and you might just have a chat, and you might get an idea from that.
It's exactly like that. I mean, this effectively is our office, effectively, that we're in every day, and it is really nice to see people. So it's a nice little lift, actually, because I think you get so used to having a lot of people around you, don't you?
Yeah. So you've got some lovely art in the background. This is the work that I recognise from you. Some really sort of iconic scenes of London there. Can you just give us a little bit of a introduction into your work, your practice?
So you can see mostly I work on metal, aluminium. So they're all made from photographs that I've taken, and then I play around on the computer and erase stuff, and then when that's all done, actually I don't know whether I can.
Oh yeah,
there we go. This thing here, under here is the graphics tablet that I use.
Well, do you print? So you take the sheet metal and then you use that device to?
No. I do everything on the computer. So it's like a graphics tablet. So this is my pen.
Yeah.
So any colouring, I would just sort of with this thing, you can colour like straight onto the screen. So I do all the colouring and everything on the screen first, and then we print it on the metal. So that's the National Theatre on the South Bank in London, and then I've got it's in pink over there. This one's my bestseller, the pink one. So Albert Bridge there in South London, which is my favourite bridge in the world.
So beautiful bridge is that?
Yeah. And then this one here. Let's see if I can move without making people feel sick.
I like this. We're moving around. This is what I'm talking about.
There it is. So this is. Do you recognise that building?
Oh, but is that the old television centre?
Yes.
Oh, it is.
It is indeed. So I mean, they've still got one studio there, but I don't know if you can. So there's loads of white dots on the wall, which are quite famous.
Right.
So what I've done is I've put old 1950s and 60s TV knobs and buttons there instead.
Cool.
So and I don't know, this one is hard to know whether it will work in here, but this is the view from the top of BT Tower.
Uh-huh.
But it's I don't know if you can see, when you move across it, it changes colour, if you can see that.
Oh, I see what you mean. It shimmers a little bit. Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh,
so whatever angle it is, it's different. And then sometimes this is a telephone box on wood. This is an abstract of the London Underground map with LEDs behind it in a big box. I'm sure you recognise that one.
Yeah, is that the Big Ben clock?
Yes, that's the clock face.
I
mean, I never realised until I started working on it. I mean, look at the different shapes on each layer.
Yeah, amazing.
Every single, yeah.
You've got a very different set of styles there. It looks like it's the sort of work that's accumulated over a time. So it's like you sort of adding layers to your artistic practice, if you like. Yeah. Different ideas added over a period of time that you're just constantly working on.
Well, it's the same theme as in there's outlines and shapes and colours. That's the basic theme of all of them. Yeah. But I sort of discover new ways of doing it, really. And every time I discover there's a company that makes my neons or has the engineering for something. There's a copper one I've just done recently, which is on the other side of my studio. And as soon as I discover them, I can take an idea that's in my head and it's on my computer and I say, "Can you make that?" Because I can't. And then they go, "Oh, well, we've never done that before." And that's perfect. Let's do that.
Yes, let's do it. Let's try that. That's ideal for me. Ideal.
Yes. Yeah. If they say it's impossible, yeah.
I was just going to ask you about the colours actually, because one of the things that pops out straight away is the use of colour, and particularly the striking contrasts of quite vibrant colours, and then in some of the works that we're seeing behind you, quite sort of grey tones. Is that is that something that you've always done? Is that always the use of colour? Has that always been important to you?
Yes, I mean, I one of the reasons I do it on metal is to give me that contrast. So the aluminium, it's brushed aluminium, and it picks up the details of buildings particularly well. Like with the BBC behind me, you can see the windows there. It picks it up really well, and then it's really, really silver. And then if you put a very bright color against it, it sets it off nicely. I mean, I'll show you this. You must see if you recognise that building.
Okay, so this is Centre Point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Recognise that. It's lovely repeated patterns, and then that's kind of sort of like an orangey red. And so the colours. Sometimes I try colours and they don't work. I found that I've tried a few with orange. Doesn't work.
I'm picking up you're liking this particular style of architecture as well. So is it? I mean, some might know it as brutalist, but sort of 50s, 60s type buildings that popped up around London.
I love it.
What is it about that?
I think for an artist, they have nice shapes. I mean, not everybody likes them, but we've grown to love them, haven't we? The National Theatre. Every time I go there, there's different angles you see, and it's block colours, which blocks of concrete and shapes. But even some of the old buildings, like I've got a few of St Paul's I've done. That's a nice shape, and it's very simple shape, and then intricate details within that, and I like that too. But the brutalist stuff works really well. I love it.
It certainly does. You're right about that. I can see it now. The shapes with the backdrop, and it really stands out, doesn't it? Quite impactful piece of work. Yeah.
I mean, you can't see. I haven't got it here because it's. We made it just before lockdown, but we've done. There's the. Let's see, where is it? There's the OXO.
Oh yes.
That's a similar, concrete thing.
Yeah, what a classic building that is. That's
it's beautiful,
isn't it?
Yeah. Yes, yeah. But I've done it on concrete, so I spray painted it on concrete, and the concrete's got those rusted metal bars that poke out concrete when you see a building being constructed, and they're the hanging devices for it. Right. So I was going to show that for the first time at the other art fair, and that was literally the week after lockdown. So no one's seen it yet in the flesh. So hopefully.
Well, maybe reveal it at the V-Art.Show, because of course one of the things that I think yourself, we've been speaking to artists quite a lot during lockdown, and just finding out what people are doing to keep creative and keep active and innovate really, and find out different ways of doing things. And And one of the activities that you and a group of other artists have decided to do is create a virtual art show using Zoom. We spoke to one of your friends, a friend of ours as well, Alex McIntyre, about this same subject a couple of days ago. So tell me about the V-Art.Show and what it's about.
Well, we were sort of missing our connection with human beings, really. And I mean, I had 7 shows cancelled because of the situation, and all the artists have had loads. And everybody's had their work problems, all round. So it's a problem shared, isn't it? But we sort of met every week online. Some of the artists went to a little group, and we just got chatting and stuff. And then 2 of them, Matt Dukes and Fricks, who've done the other art fair numerous times with me, they sort of popped up, and they went away and worked behind the scenes. And then they came back to us and said, "Hey, what do you think about doing this?" And they'd already done the website and everything. And then the idea was that we would have a group of us online, and then people could come and talk to us for one evening about our work, and then we'd have it with us. So we've got the V-Art.Show was born, and then I think we had 8 artists for the first one, and then the one on this Thursday, the 4th of June, has got 16 artists. So what viewers can do is they can go to the website, v-art.show, and then there's all the artists are listed on there. If there's any ones they particularly like, they just press a button, and then it takes you into a Zoom room, as I'm sure lots of us have become familiar with them. And then the artist will be there to chat. It's sort of that simple. So you get to see an artist face to face. But if you don't want to do it face to face, and I'm sure Alex told you that you can just listen to the conversations. You can just have the sound, or you can type a message if you've got a question. And then there's an opportunity to book an appointment with the artist online afterwards as well. So it's just trying to get the connection back, because I'm sure you travel around a lot with the street art things and doing the various podcasts like with Art Republic. I remember that a while back, and I think you must miss that connection with some people as well.
Absolutely. I think one of the greatest things about the art world is that you can especially on group exhibitions, like something like the other art fair, let's take that as an example, where you can walk around and you can see something different, and you can talk to people, or you could just step back and you can look and you can see what takes you fancy, and you can make a real experience out of it. And then some of the conversations then that you have with the artist can be really rich. You can really form these quite close connections with people about the work that's in front of you. And I think it does seem like you're trying to replicate that very much. So you've got 16 artists. That's quite a group.
Yes.
So you go in, out, pop in. You don't have to talk if you don't want to.
Nope.
Have your video on if you want to.
Yeah, the thing is with the 16 artists is it's like if you go to a show where there's 140 artists, like the other art fair, you may not get a time to speak to all of them.
You're going to hone in.
Yeah, exactly. You can pick and choose, and also all our portfolios are up on that website right now, so you can go along to the website and pick and choose. Maybe 3 or 4 a night, and then you can come back to another show, or you can contact them online if you've seen it but not had time. I've had people who said, "Oh, I really enjoyed the V-Art show." I was like, I didn't see you. And I said, no, I was in Mark Beattie's room just chatting with him. And, you get into quite long conversations, which is really nice.
And I suppose it's important to have a mix, isn't it? So if you're all doing the same stuff, you wouldn't be attracting as wide an audience. And because you've got lots of different artists of different expertise, really different genres, you can come in thinking, actually, I really love Michael Wallner's work. I'm going to check him out, and then suddenly you're distracted. You think, oh, actually there's somebody else here that I quite like, and somebody else and somebody else.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. And I think the standard of artists actually is brilliant. I think we're very lucky, because some of us knew each other already. Other ones we reached out to because we know of them and like them. Others have applied through the website and seen the show. Some we got one artist, the beautiful Air, up in Edinburgh. She's doing an MA there, and she loves glitches and technology, and so her very colourful work reflects that. Hannah Sarfraz is a hyper-realist drawer, pencil drawings, and her work is unbelievable. She's in Seattle.
Is she?
she'll be joining us. So I feel sorry for her because every time we have our meetings and rehearsals and things like that, she's got to get up at the crack of dawn to be with us. But we're Matt Duke's some lovely coloured stuff. I think you know him quite well, don't you? His work. And there's some geometric artists. Mark Beatty's a sculptor. We've got people who make their own pigments. Roy's people, from the founder of Roy's Art Fair, with his amazing miniature photography.
Yes. Interviewed on this very series. Yes. We've got to Roy.
Brilliant. Yes.
The guy we know really well. Great artist.
And Gary Mansfield. I'm sure you know him.
Do you know what? I've never actually spoken to Gary, but I'm very familiar with his work. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Look, I'll be popping into his room, I think.
Yeah, a fantastic story. He discovered conceptual art while he was in jail.
Oh, yeah.
And art has turned his life around, and
fantastic
I think that's incredible about what a positive effect. So, I mean, there's too many artists to mention, but there's some really, really good artists, and I'm really happy with the mix we've managed to get. So,
a few things that you mentioned there. First of all, the different artists coming together in this shared endeavor. So you're meeting different people, you're learning. Once again, you're sort of creating a bit of a community there. The other thing is people from different areas, so Edinburgh and Seattle. So it's possible that if this was in London, those people might not be able to come at all. So again, inclusive in terms of that. Do you think it's a bit of a game changer now, the way that we've had to think because of this experience of lockdown, that yes, there's still going to be a space for, stand-up type real art, but actually this sort of thing has to keep happening now. Do you see it continuing?
Yes, I think so. It's been quite interesting because this will be our third show. So we've pretty much done one a month during lockdown. And at the beginning, there may well have been Zoom art shows on. I don't know, but I didn't see any. But now
I didn't.
There's one or two cropping up, which is good. I mean, for us, it's always better to see artwork in the flesh. There's no doubt about that. But what it has done for me with my work is that people say, they like to find the story behind it, but then they can come and see it in my studio once the lockdown eases a little bit. So that kind of thing. But I think it will be a mixture. You're right. I think the shows like the other art fair will always be there. Because they're really nice for the interaction, and that will get back to normal eventually, I think. But it might be a mixture of the two, and it may be that I don't know why I didn't think of it before, really, that I could have done Zoom chats in my studio anytime with any client, couldn't I? And I don't know why I didn't. I mean, maybe other people did.
Definitely. If you're put in this situation and suddenly you got to think, actually, I've got to step back a little bit now, look at what I want, and what can I do to continue speaking to people in this time. Well, I can use technology. I can use Zoom.
And I think we'll get better. I mean, I do a show called A River Runs Through It, which you've also been to, a London-based show. We do it at the Oxo Gallery every September, and it's unlikely we'll be able to do it in the actual venue this time round. But it may be that we can do a virtual reality version of it.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Discussions now about that, I think it does. I mean, it's about maintaining the connection with people. I mean, I love doing the shows. I really do, because you get to speak to the people who are buying your art, and you buy an artist's personality and character as well as the painting, I think. So we were looking at ways of just letting people get to know us a bit, and rather than just seeing a post online, which is lovely, but just finding out a little bit more and having that conversation. And I'm sure Alex told you that she had conversations with people from abroad.
Yeah.
And Mark had somebody from New York show him around his house in New York where the Mark sculptures were. So
that must be great. That must be great if you're an artist and you suddenly got somebody and they're showing you around their home in New York.
Yeah.
And thinking, wow, that's my piece, right? That's my piece. It's up there. How cool is that?
It's absolutely brilliant, and I think it's really lovely. And we had some people who came and they didn't say very much. They just wanted to say hello, or they just wanted to see what it was. And we've had a few artists come along to check it out. but it just keeps the conversation going, doesn't it? I think that's the important thing, and getting our work out there in a different way. So I hope that we'll use it. It'll be a brand where we'll do it even outside lockdown.
Yeah.
I'm hoping we'll continue it regularly.
That'd be nice. Well, we'll leave it there, Michael. Thank you very much for talking to Art Online. I'm looking forward to the V-Art show. Yeah, I'll speak to you when I see you next.